After spending more than a month with the base model M2 MacBook Air, I found it to be mostly fine for my everyday tasks. For the most part, I was able to do everything I needed to do for my day-to-day work, for my real job and personal stuff, and even running this YouTube channel. But I did find a couple of performance issues with the base model. The conclusion I came to is that the M2 Air is a weird computer that sits between an almost as powerful but cheaper M1 MacBook Air and a much better overall 14-inch M1 Pro MacBook Pro. I showed in my last M2 MacBook Air video, when pushing this computer, it did run into pretty big performance issues, proving, in my opinion, that the limited RAM and maybe even the lower SSD speeds does have an effect on the usability of this machine. And these are issues that I don't see with the base model 14-inch MacBook Pro, which comes with 16 gigabytes of memory and 512 gigabytes of storage. So I wanted to know if the performance of the M2 Air with upgraded memory and storage would be more like the performance of the 14-inch MacBook Pro for regular use. So I went ahead and picked one up, and I've been using it over the last couple of weeks. Also, is the upgrade worth the extra cost? The short story is yes. When upgrading the M2 MacBook Air to 512 gigabytes of storage and 16 gigabytes of memory, the performance issues that I had seen and demonstrated with the base model MacBook Air just did not occur. I found that the idle swap memory on the upgraded M2 Air was far below that of the base model in regular computer use. Also, when performing the same usage and video export test that I showed in the last video, there was also a huge difference in RAM swap, and the usability issues where Safari would freeze and be unresponsive on the base model performed perfectly on the upgraded model. Now, yes, a computer with more physical memory is going to use less swap memory when doing the same tasks, obviously. And even though computers are designed to use swap memory in regular use, the amount used in the base model showed that 8 gigabytes is just not enough for current desktop operating systems to perform well. And not just for today, but for the next 4 to 6 years, or however long you plan on having a computer. And because so much swap memory was being used on the base model with 8 gigabytes of memory, that slower storage speed is coming into play. And if you want more proof on that, I suggest you go check out Max Tech's videos because they go way more in depth on this than I'm willing to. So the bottom line is the performance is better with the upgraded model, but the next big question for me is it worth it to pay to upgrade the M2 Air? In recent months, you've been able to get the 14-inch MacBook Pro starting at around $1,750 to $1,799 brand new, or at least refurbished from Apple at the same price. When you upgrade the storage and the memory on the M2 MacBook Air, you're looking at a price of about $1,599. For a $200 difference on laptops this expensive, you get a ton of benefits on the 14-inch MacBook Pro that are way worth it, including the brighter screen with ProMotion and dimming zones. You get a better camera, you get way better speakers, a faster 10-core CPU and 14-core GPU, an extra Thunderbolt 4-port, HDMI port, and an SD card slot. So yeah, it's worth every penny of an upgrade for $200. But, and this still blows my mind, in the last few days, Best Buy's been selling the same M1 Pro MacBook Pro for the same price as the upgraded M2 Air at $1,599, making it almost criminal to buy the upgraded M2 Air over the 14-inch MacBook Pro. The absolute only benefit the Air has over the Pro is the slightly slimmer and lighter design, and I guess, I don't know, a couple of colors if you really care about that. And yes, even having a fan in the 14-inch MacBook Pro is a benefit because it keeps the CPU cool and comfortable without any of the major throttling that you can see in the M2 Air, although not in regular use. I never hear the fan in my 14-inch base model unless I'm running long benchmarks. It's basically as silent as this fanless MacBook Air. The 14-inch MacBook Pro is just a better laptop in basically every conceivable way. And there's no reason to even look at the M2 Air at this point in time. If the base model Air does not have the performance that you want or need, then jump up to the 14-inch MacBook Pro. It's the only option that makes sense. And it's a big performance jump. So, in my opinion, the M2 MacBook Air at any spec and any price point just doesn't seem worth it. It's not a bad computer in any way, that's not what I'm saying, and most people who have bought it or will buy it are going to be happy with it. There are just better options out there for saving money or getting more for your money. And unless you want this new design specifically in a specific color and you want it to be as compact as possible, you should get the M1 Air or the 14-inch MacBook Pro. But hey, what do you guys think? Are there more reasons to consider the MacBook Air over the 14-inch MacBook Pro? Let me know below. And if you want to see my comparison of the M1 MacBook Air and the M2 MacBook Air, check out this video right over here. Hit the thumbs up button if you liked it, hit subscribe if you want, and I'll see you next time.